And last this week is going to be Dungeon Reset. It's a web novel. I've been getting to a lot of these recently in the last few weeks. It is 43 chapters currently, and there are new chapters released on a weekly basis. It is free, and there are unlockable chapters. There is a licensed English translator and publisher, TappyTune, and we'll have a link in the show notes that links to them directly. There are other places you can find this if you really want to look for them, but the officially licensed version is going to TappyTune. So there you go. That's where we'll put it, because that's what get the original authors, publishers paid. Here's the novel description. Once it starts up, the dungeon goes through a process called reset the next user. Why doesn't this reset process apply to me? I am the only one left from the endless reset of this dungeon. With simple skills and an overwhelming weapon, Jung-down's game starts inside the dungeon. Again, it's a translated novel translated from another language's web novel or web comic. So just there you go. There is a web novel version of this. I couldn't find a good link for it. I'm not sure if the English publisher or if there's an English publisher version of it, but the web novel does have one. Web comic rather. This is one of the sillier stories I've read, or as a webcomic. It starts out pretty serious with the main character and others being transported to an RPG world and being forced to fight monsters as they clear levels of the dungeon. It's brutal, with most people dying out to traps from monsters. The main character is left behind to die after he falls into a pit trap, and the surviving members leave for the next level. Everyone thinks the main character is dead, including the evil rabbit dungeon guide, and the first level is reset. Only the main character isn't dead and gets healed as the dungeon resets, and he has to survive on his own in a place filled with monsters and traps. If the main character doesn't have the combat skills and is pretty useless, so he develops some seemingly more useless skills like digging dirt, which he grinds into the ability to make tunnels, bricks, and eventually magically crafted dirt furniture. It's a silly turn that pushes the main character into situations where he's unlocking seemingly useless skills to survive the dungeon, all to the consternation of the evil dungeon guide. The story is full of humor as the main character keeps surviving these events and becomes more powerful even without a direct combat skill. That's absolutely true. I'm going to actually pull up the webcomic itself so you can see what the art style is. I like the art style. I thought it was really well done. And like I said, the story itself is just kind of funny and entertaining. It definitely pokes fun at this genre, but there's still action and there's still like a decent plot, but it is very slice of life, and the main character might spend weeks doing something to survive without like any direct action, but it's all summarized in the story, in the comic rather. And there's a lot of crafting, which I'm a big fan of. And it just kind of goes through these segments of entertainment. So there's crafting and there's entertainment and it's dungeon story, but there's regular-ish dungeon fights at least and monster stuff that you guys. Oh, I forgot to put it up on there. There you go. I'm like scrolling through this thing on my screen and it's not showing for you guys. And here's the art style. So there you go. You can take a look at those pictures there of the main character. And again, so entertaining webcomic. I'm actually still reading it because new chapters are coming on a weekly basis, and I'm definitely enjoying where the story goes without spoiling it for you. So it's still entertaining for me. So there you go. That's Dungeon Reset. Gets a score of 7.4 to 10 for me.